Hey everybody! Before you watch this episode of Cartoon Conspiracy, I have a little bit of an announcement to make. These next 4 episodes of Cartoon Conspiracy will be my very last. I've had an amazing 2 years on this show, but I'm leaving to pursue some of my animation dreams. With over 40 million views and almost 100 episodes of Cartoon Conspiracy, it's definitely hard to say goodbye. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the show these past 2 years. And make sure you stick around to the end of this video for another very special announcement. Most girls grow up listening to the princess narrative. You know the drill. Those stories about young women being rescued by dashing princes and then living happily ever after. It's a tale as old as time. And there's no bigger pusher of the princess narrative than Disney. From the debut of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937, Disney has practically been churning out those charming princes on a conveyor belt. And little girls all over the world grew up arguing which prince was the dreamiest of the dreamy. Flynn Rider. But is it all a big lie? Are all of those princes actually total jerks? And we've actually been rooting for our beloved heroines to end up with a guy we wouldn't wish upon our worst enemies? Why would Disney do such a thing? Write every prince to be the absolute worst. And I do mean every prince. It makes you wonder if it was intentional. Like if Disney has some sort of a secret agenda. Wait, is Disney actually grooming young girls for disappointment later in their life? This theory has been floating around the internet for quite some time. Smosh, The Gloss, BuzzFeed are just some of the websites who have highlighted the prince's highly questionable level of character. And some are suggesting that this was an intentional move by Disney to crush young girls' hopes of ever finding a helpful and supportive significant other in the future. So, to begin, let's look at Disney's biggest offenders. Offender number 1, Aladdin. We've already covered Aladdin's purported jerkiness in the Cartoon Conspiracy episode, Is Jafar the Real Hero of Aladdin? But here's a refresher. Aladdin is a slacker and a thief who justifies robbing other poor people. He claims to have no choice but to steal, which means we have to take him at his word on this, but let's face it, Aladdin himself admits to being a con man. So how can we believe anything he says? Plus, Aladdin wants to use the magical genie to trick a beautiful rich girl into marrying him. If I was Jasmine, I would run fast. Offender number 2, Prince Eric. Prince Eric is the kind of guy who likes his women seen and not heard. Know what I mean? One day, he stumbles across a mute, naked girl on the beach. And somehow, he's totally okay with this. His only shot at redemption is that he's deeply stupid. And therefore, might not even have the mental capacity to realize that he's appallingly shallow. But when his stupidity is his only saving grace, you know you're in trouble, Ariel. Offender number 3, Prince Charming. Prince Charming from Cinderella, first of all, doesn't even have a real name. And he's the type of guy whose dad throws him a party so he can cherry pick a wife. Then, once he finds his future wife at said party, claiming she's the love of his life after like 5 minutes, he completely forgets what she looks like and has to shove a shoe on every girl in the kingdom just to find her again. Think he's gonna remember your anniversary? Not a chance. Okay, so now let's just do a quick recap of the rest of them. The Beast has major anger management problems, and he kidnapped Belle. Prince Naveen is a gold digger who totally put the moves on Tiana's best friend Charlotte, just for her money. If you ignore Li Shang's blatant sexism, he's not so terrible, but he is a little sexually confused. Captain John Smith, he's a colonist for Pete's sake. We rest our case with that point alone. Flynn Rider is just another version of Aladdin, and no one needs that in their life. And remember the prince from Snow White? Well, I've got just one word for you: necrophilia. And here's the outlier. Prince Phillip is maybe the only one of these guys who's a keeper. He falls in love with Aurora when he thinks she's poor. And when he finds out she's a princess, he loves her all the same. He stands by this love for her, even when his dad gives him a hard time. And then he fights a huge dragon for her to boot. That's dedication, and pretty swoon-worthy if I do say so myself. But is it enough to ignore the overwhelming evidence? If we proceed with the assumption that this theory is true, and Disney's decision to make all of the princes total jerks is intentional, this changes all the stories we grew up watching. Belle falling in love with the Beast? That's Stockholm Syndrome. It also leads young girls to believe that you can totally change him, which you can't. Snow White's decision to wait for the perfect guy resulted in her ending up with one that likes her more when she doesn't have a pulse. Also, it's never okay to kiss someone without permission. Ariel's misguided belief in love at first sight means she ended up with a guy who only likes her for her looks. And she kind of completely gave up who she is just to be with him, which is a lesson we all should have learned in Greece. Cinderella had to change how she looked just to get the guy of her dreams to notice her. And then he promptly forgot what she actually looked like. And we can't even begin to handle Pocahontas' decision to marry a guy who's invaded her country, stolen her land, and infected everybody she loves with unknown diseases. But you probably didn't see that part in the movies. Oh, and Jasmine and Rapunzel? Convicted felons are rarely a good idea. Trust me. Now that we've presented our case, what do you think? If this theory is the real deal, that would mean that Disney has been encouraging girls to settle with highly questionable men since 1937. And all of those stories about waiting for your Prince Charming were setting us up to fail because the only thing these guys have to offer is a lifetime of disappointment. So does this theory actually have legs? Are all of the Disney princes total jerks? Did Disney do it on purpose to groom young girls for a lifetime of disappointment? If you guys know me, you know I am a huge Disney fan. So of course, I don't personally believe this story. Heck, if I could, I would go with Flynn Rider in a second. I just think this is a hilarious way to look at all the Disney princes. Because let's be real here, the Disney princesses are really what the story is about. So let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with this theory, and let us know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching that episode of Cartoon Conspiracy. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, that these next few episodes will be some of my last. And with that being said, Channel Frederator is looking for a new host. And of course, we wanted to ask you guys to help out. If you guys are interested in hosting, make a YouTube video, post it, and email it to us, and tell us why you would make an excellent host for Cartoon Conspiracy. We're looking for people in the New York City and LA area. And this is a paid opportunity. Also, it's a ton of fun. So if you guys are interested, definitely send us your videos. And be sure to watch the next couple weeks for special episodes. I'm here today to ask the most important question ever asked in the entire existence of all of humanity. A question so deep and so thought-provoking. It puzzled philosophers and oceanographers for thousands of years. The question, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Luckily, Nickelodeon has never shied away from answering this age-old question. The answer is SpongeBob SquarePants. Our old pal SpongeBob swam his way into millions of hearts way back in 1999. He's gone on so many adventures with his pals Patrick, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, Squidward, and Gary the Snail. These guys have been all over ocean and land together. 2 movies and tons of seasons later, there's still one question that has yet to be answered. And no, it surprisingly has nothing to do with how they lit a campfire underwater, or why SpongeBob looks like a kitchen sponge instead of a sea sponge, or even why Squidward can't seem to improve at playing the clarinet. No, there is a much bigger conspiracy to solve in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob's nemesis Plankton has been trying to figure it out unsuccessfully for years. The real mystery is, what is really in that Krabby Patty secret formula?